I'm a sophomore from Portsmouth, Rhode Island, and I went on the Morelos, Mexico trip. And why I joined Arrupe, at first I actually didn't know. I went through the application process and I wanted to challenge myself mentally and spiritually. I'm not an overly religious person. And so I went into the process a little ambivalent. I didn't know how I felt. It was such a big commitment. And I realize now why I joined Arrupe, and that was basically so I could challenge myself in the different aspects of my life while kind of deviating from the normal college daily life. And so I realized that I wanted to join Arrupe to kind of dynamize my college experience.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. I'm a sophomore from Wallingford, Connecticut, and I went on Arrupe, Nicaragua.
And I'm Lauren. I'm a senior from Baltimore, Maryland, and I also was on Arrupe, Nicaragua this past winter break. So Caitlin and I just wanted to share some of our experiences really briefly. For me, one of the most powerful things about Arrupe was that it was so full circle for me. It was really a cap on my Boston College experience as a senior. It really allowed me, as a full-year program, to see how much I've grown and changed since freshman year here at BC. And so many of the stories that we encountered during our week in Nicaragua were just so powerful and so impactful. So Caitlin can share first, and then I'll go.
One of the great experiences that we had in Nicaragua was we got to meet with Father Cardinal, who was a Jesuit during the Revolution, who worked with education. So as college students, it was really interesting to hear his stories about how important education was to the history of Nicaragua and also the importance of education in creating social change. And that's something that we've been striving to bring back to BC campus.
So for me, one of the most powerful parts of the week was when we did a homestay up in a really rural region of Nicaragua, and Caitlin and I actually had the pleasure of staying at the same homestay with a woman named Doña Nafalia, and her story was really just really special and really unique. So in the 80s, she went to Cuba to study about how to become a better teacher and learn some new education techniques. And obviously Cuba is a communist country, so when she returned to Nicaragua during the counter-revolution, the Contras, which were the counter-revolutionary group, were really seeking her out because of her connection with the communists. And she was actually forced to sleep outside for several years after her return to Nicaragua. But all the while, she's very resilient. Meeting her today, you would never know all the hardship that she's gone through in terms of being chased and having her life threatened and all that sort of thing. And she's just an incredible, incredible caring woman, and I feel really lucky to have gotten to meet her through Arrupe.
My name is Rachel. I'm a perspectives major and a sophomore here at BC, and I went on the Arrupe Morelos trip. And my favorite part about the experience was the homestay. I was really intimidated. I don't know any Spanish, and so I thought that was going to be a really big problem. But it was really cool to kind of go, once you move beyond the language barrier, and kind of were able to piece together sentences, and kind of just being able to eat together, and just kind of have that human connection was a really cool thing to experience. And I loved my Arrupe group and all the friends that I made, and it was definitely an integral part to my sophomore year at Boston College, so join Arrupe.
So another amazing aspect of the Arrupe program is your group. You'll be traveling to the nation that you end up visiting with a group of 13 other students and 2 adult mentors. And it's just really amazing. Your Arrupe group becomes your family that you meet with every week, and you can talk to about basically everything, and you have really stimulating conversations that you might not be able to have just in the dining hall with one of your friends that you see every day, because there's just a special intentionality in our relationships that really brings everyone together.
Hi, my name is Mike. I just recently got back from the Arrupe trip to Jamaica. We stayed at a bunch of different, what's called mustard seed communities. It's about 7 different communities, basically just what you would think, a bunch of houses that house a population of varying ages, many kids with physical and mental disabilities, kids with HIV, as well as some impregnated teenagers. And we kind of bopped around there, stayed at a lot of different places. I had a great experience on the trip. One thing I really took away from it was I could never imagine the joy I would have found in those kids and just their laughter and the smiles, and it was really interesting to be able to experience that, and then later on be able to have a conversation with a group of people and engage in this conversation not only on the trip but throughout the year, and it allowed me to figure out or continue to question a lot of things about how that experience is going to play in my life down the road.
I would say the thing I took away most from my Arrupe experience was the exposure I had, whether that be to new cultures, new ideas, and the overarching thing for me was probably the new questions that it asked me, whether it was my group members or my group leaders or how I asked myself. These were questions that I wouldn't have previously thought about, and I pondered them on trip during group discussions, and it kind of helped me figure out more about myself, how I want to be as a person, and what I want to strive to do later.
So another thing that we learned on our Arrupe trip to Nicaragua when we spoke with Father Cardinal was the importance of solidarity, which is one of the main tenets of the Arrupe program, and also the reason why the program continues for a full year and you don't just come back from your trip without having any means of processing it or integrating it into your daily life. So he talked to us about the importance of getting involved in social movements and how you shouldn't allow trips like your Arrupe experience to be an isolated experience. You shouldn't let them fall away from you. You should keep them close to your heart and integrate them into the way you live your life. And he left us with a quote that he said that his hope is in young people, and so young people like the students at Boston College should be able to take to the streets and create history. And so joining Arrupe and doing a program like this that causes you to question the world and question what's important in your life helps you to stay involved and take to the streets.
Practice what you preach and what you turn the other cheek.